Hello and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And animal wrangling for us today is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And our first guest is the oldest resident on our adoption floor. This is Mabel. She is a new addition to the FCAC family. She is a 13-year-old black and white lab mix, and she is just the sweetest. Everybody who's interacted with her has nothing but great things to say. She's a little bit older, so she's much calmer. She does a very nice sit. She takes treats very gently. This is kind of how Mabel is. She did show a little energy when she started playing with the toy, but if you are kind of a more laid-back family, not as active, then older dogs are a great option because they don't need to go out as often. They don't need those long hikes and those, an hour running in the dog park, those types of things. She's just perfectly happy to kind of sit by you, watch TV, cuddle up on the soon-to-be cold nights and keep you warm. Older dogs are a great option too if maybe you've never had a dog before because they are so much calmer and easier to manage. So it's a good introductory dog to have, one that's a little more established, a little better behaved than some of the younger dogs who still require a ton of training. We do health and behavior assessments on all the dogs that come into the shelter. Mabel's behavior assessment is fantastic. She's very friendly. She's easy to walk. She's easy to obtain. She doesn't have any negative reactions with other dogs. She willingly lets go of objects. She doesn't really have any issues with food aggression. She loves to be petted. She's just a sweet older girl who's looking for a great place to spend her golden years. When you are taking on older dogs, it is important to understand that they are going to have more health needs. They're going to need to see the vet more frequently. Mabel, for example, does probably need a dental sometime in her future, and she has some little lumps and bumps, which is why we always want people to be reading the medical profiles and behavioral profiles before they visit with the animals to make sure they're prepared to take on all aspects of owning a particular pet. Because Mabel is a senior, she would go home for a senior discount. Normally our adoption fee for adult dogs is $92.50. Because Mabel is over the age of 10, there would be a $40 reduction in that adoption fee, making her adoption fee $52.50. If you are interested in adding this sweet older lady to your house, you can stop in and visit with her here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Our next guest is Joplin. She has a bit of a higher energy level than Mabel, but she's still a really well-behaved dog with a great behavior assessment. She is a 1.5-year-old red and white pit bull mix. She came to us because there were some allergy issues in the home, and so now she's here looking for her new forever home. She doesn't have really issues with other dogs. When Sean took her out of the kennel, she walked nicely for him on the leash. She didn't bark. We do have her on a harness because she can pull a little bit, but she doesn't have any issues with food aggression. She's just wanting to be petted and loved, and she takes treats really nicely. So she has a ton of positive things for her. If you are interested in making Joplin part of your family, there are some things that you need to be aware of. Joplin still has a lot of puppy things that she does. She's like a chewer and a digger. She's also a jumper, and she's a fence jumper, and she also has the great skill of being able to climb chain link. So if you are going to make her part of your family, she really should not be left unattended in any type of fenced-in yards, play yards, because she can jump certain fences if they're not high enough, and if you have even a tall chain link fence, she can climb that and get out. So we've taken those precautions with her here in the shelter. So she can only go out on leash walks. She can't be in the play yard because we don't want her to get out and possibly get hurt or have any other type of negative interaction. You should always be thinking about whether or not your yard is secure for your dog if you're going to have them out unattended at all, but it is a major issue if you're thinking about taking Joplin home. You really need to be prepared for that. According to her previous owner, she did get along with cats, so if you have a cat and you're looking to make a dog part of your family, then Joplin could be a good option for you because she's already kind of used to them. And then She really likes balls, toys, whatever is there, but she really is going to need, because she is that younger dog, a lot of time walking, playing. You don't want to just leave them crated all day long. They need to find an outlet for that energy, just like our kids. When they don't have something to keep them busy and they're bored, then they kind of get into trouble. If you're looking to make this beautiful girl part of your family, you can stop in and visit her here at Animal Control. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Cheyenne is another one of our older dogs that's available for adoption, and she is also a lab mix. She is 7 years old, and her favorite thing in the world is tennis balls. You will rarely walk by her kennel and not see her playing with one, chewing on one with one in her mouth. That's her thing, and she can catch them in her mouth. The only thing she likes better than tennis balls is treats. She is one of our orange color-coded dogs, which means that she's average. She's relatively calm. She walks nicely on leash. She knows some basic training stuff, but she could also use a little bit more work. And she was brought to us, previously owned. The owner's work schedule and life just wasn't working out for dog ownership. So Cheyenne was brought to us so that we could find her a new home. Again, because she's one of the older dogs, she's calmer, but she's considerably younger than Mabel, so she still has a lot more energy if you're looking to go outside and play. As you can see, Cheyenne loves to play ball. She'll chase after that. Her owner says that she also is a fan of stick throwing. She still has that playfulness, but she's going to be a lot easier to manage than, say, a dog like Joplin. She's been with cats. She's been with dogs. She is a little bit of a digger and a jumper, so other things that you should be watching out for. But she's just a very sweet, nice, kind of laid-back dog. Our behavior assessment for her, she's very friendly. She doesn't have any negative reactions to other dogs. She's very easy to walk. She doesn't have any issues with food aggression. She loves to be petted. And she doesn't have any issues with guarding or anything like that. She loves her tennis balls, but she does willingly let go of them. And she, as we've seen today, she trades really nicely. If you take one away, give her something else, another ball, another toy, another treat, she does that. So if you're interested in adding a lab mix to your family, you can stop in and visit with Cheyenne here at Animal Control. We are open 6 days a week. That's Monday through Saturday. The next dog we have to show for you today is Lino, and he is one of the puppies that we have available for adoption. He doesn't look like it, but he is still a puppy at 9 months old. He is a black and white cur mix, and he came to us because he was just getting too big, too much to handle for his previous owner, so they brought him to us again so that we could find him a more suitable home. Lino has been around other dogs. He's been around children of a variety of ages, but he is still a puppy, so there's going to be a lot of training involved with Lino. He pulls on his leash. Things like that are easy to work on. That's why we have him on a harness. He reacts favorably to other dogs. He's very friendly. He's easy to obtain. But that pulling and jumping is one of the main things that he'll need help with. He doesn't have issues with food aggression. He likes to be petted. He willingly lets go of objects, and all of those are great things. According to his previous owner, he's a chewer. That's typical puppy stuff that can be worked on. You just want to always replace that with something that is acceptable to chew on, letting him know this is the good thing, this is the bad thing. It does say that he's afraid of noises, so that's something that you might also want to take into consideration, that he can be a little fearful of things. Because puppies are a huge responsibility and require more work than a dog that maybe is already trained. We adopt our puppies out through a puppy process, which means we do a lengthier application, which we then ask you some additional questions to make sure that you're prepared and kind of have a plan to take on a puppy, asking you if you're familiar with the breed and all of the kind of eccentricities that come with those individual breeds. And we take up to 4 applications for a puppy, and then as with any animal, we choose the best fit for the dog. Our puppies are also adopted out for a a larger adoption fee. Puppies go for $150 instead of that same $92.50 for the regular adult dogs. If you are interested in meeting Lino, you can stop in and visit us here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. The last dog that we have for you today is Jupiter, and he's been on the show before, but he's one of our longtime residents, so we're giving him another opportunity on the show today to see if maybe the people who have been searching for Jupiter will have an opportunity to see him and come in and take him home and make him part of their family. Jupiter's about 2 years old. He's a tan and white pit bull mix. He is very muscular. He's very smart. He's very playful. He is a high energy dog. So he really needs to go to a home with a very active person or a very active family. He's going to be the type of dog that you can take hiking for miles, that wants to go running with you every morning, that's going to be able to kind of outlast your kids running around and playing in the yard, going to the dog park. He really needs all of that. If you're kind of a couch potato, then Jupiter is not going to be the right dog for you. Jupiter came to us when his family lost their home and just were unable to provide the care that he really needed. So they brought him to us so that we could give him that second chance at a forever family. Since he's been here with us, we have gone ahead and neutered him. We've gotten him up to date on his vaccinations, and he also benefited from the ability to go to a puppy camp, which is a training course that we often send our dogs to, where he got one-on-one training at a local training facility. And when you take Jupiter home, you will also get additional training as part of your adoption fee in a packet about all the things that he learned while he was at camp. The trainer that he worked with said that Jupiter has great enthusiasm for meeting new friends, whether those are people or they are other dogs, and we have seen that here at the shelter as well. He does really well in our puppy play groups, interacting with the other dogs here in the shelter, and we've also taken him to events, and he's done really well interacting with people of all ages and just getting to know them. We also learned that Jupiter is really easy to train. He's very food motivated, and he already knows several commands. He knows sit, he knows down, and he knows paw, and he will do anything for a treat. If he knows you have a treat, he will do his whole routine. He will give you his paw, he will sit, he will lay down until you give him that treat. He loves to play with toys, so he's perfectly happy playing by himself as well. But he really does need somebody who's going to be able to provide him with an opportunity to kind of get out all of that energy, all of those wiggles. He's also been known to be a cuddle dog. He's very affectionate, and we don't have any restrictions on Jupiter, so he can go home to any family that has all the things that he needs to keep him healthy, happy, and safe. If you are interested in adopting Jupiter, please stop by and visit him here at the shelter. We are open 6 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. The kennels are open from 10 to 5. On Wednesday and Thursday, they are open from 12 to 8, and on Saturdays, they are open from 10 to 4. That's going to wrap it up for this portion of the show. If you stay tuned after the break, we're going to show you several cats and kittens that are also in need of loving families.
Frederick Green Homes Challenge is now online. Visit frederickgreenchallenge.org to sign up for a free account and start saving energy, saving money, and reducing your environmental impact. Learn about actions you can take from small to big, like upgrading your light bulbs, using water-saving devices, or installing a renewable energy system. Add actions to your to-do list, earn points for completing actions, and track your savings, all online. You can even post your story and learn from the experience of others. To get started, visit frederickgreenchallenge.org and click Take the Challenge.
Welcome back. The first feline guest that we have for you is Callie, and she's one of our bigger cats, weighing in at 16 pounds 6 ounces, and she is about 2.5 years old. She made her way to the shelter when her family added a dog to the mix, and Callie did not get along with the puppy in the house, so they decided to bring Callie to us. That kind of brings up the question of how long does it take an animal to adjust to another animal in the house. We say here at least 60 days, but sometimes it can take animals 6 months, even a year to really get adjusted to a new situation. So when you're adding a new animal to the house, it's going to be an adjustment period for both the new animal and your existing animals, and you kind of just really need to be patient with them and give them that time. It's also important to understand that when you have more than one animal in your house, they don't really have to like each other. We just want to make sure that they're not hurting each other. If they ignore each other, then that's fine. They don't have to cuddle, they don't have to play, they just have to not hurt one another. Although she's not showing it right now, Callie is a big lap cat. Volunteers have been visiting with her since she's made her way to the adoption floor, and all she wants to do is kind of sit on their lap, hang out, and get petted and get lots of love and attention. She could also probably benefit from a diet, but she's very playful, she's very outgoing. She doesn't necessarily reach her hands out or her paws out of the front of her kennel, but as soon as you walk up to her and start talking to her, she jumps right down to the front. She wants to be petted, she wants to be interacted with, and at 2.5 years old, she's still very playful. As you can see, she's wanting to get down. I don't really think it's because she's afraid, because she seems to be very confident. She's just very curious and wants to see what's going on. There's some other animals in the room. She's hearing noises, smelling things. So she just wants to take all of that in. She has been around other cats. So she's been around small animals. She's been around children. She's very easy to handle. She's very friendly. If you have other animals in your house other than dogs, then she's likely going to settle in relatively nicely and make a great addition to your home. If you are interested in adding this big lap cat to your house, stop by and visit her here at the shelter. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Next up, we have Fish. Fish is one of the many black and white cats that we have available for adoption. We have tons of black or black and white cats right now. She's about a year old. She's a domestic short hair, and she is just a great cat. She is very confident, but she's not, crazy. She's not overly playful. She's just kind of got that perfect mix for a young cat. I took her recently to a Yoga with Cats event, and despite being transported in the car and then put out in a situation where it was in a place that she'd never been, with people she'd never met before, with other animals that maybe she'd never been around with before, she kind of strutted around very confidently, greeted everybody that was there, was very playful. So she should be one of the cats that's going to adjust relatively quickly to being in a new home. She's also going to be one of the cats that's not really going to be that upset about joining a house that has existing cats, because she did so well with the cats that she'd not really met before. If you are interested in taking 2 cats home with you, Fish did come in with another cat. They are not bonded, they are not even in the same cage, but sometimes when you're looking to take 2, that can be a process of really getting them comfortable with one another. So it can kind of make things easier if you're taking 2 that are already familiar. And Fish did come in with one of our orange tabby cats, Gary Worthington Jr., so you can see both of them on the adoption floor. All of our cats, dogs, are spayed or neutered before they leave. They're rabies vaccinated. They get their county license. They are vaccinated against other illnesses. They get dewormed. They also get flea and tick preventative, and they get microchipped and a free well visit to the vet. So all of that is what you would get if you were to take home Fish, and you would get that for an adoption fee of $97.50. That's our typical cat and kitten adoption fee. So if you're interested in taking home just a fantastic younger cat, you can visit Fish here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We are open to the public 6 days a week. Paella is our next guest, and she is one of our senior cats on the cat adoption floor. She came to us as a stray, so we're estimating that she's between 9 and 11 years old. She was actually found by a stray and brought in by one of our volunteers who checks on her routinely to make sure that she's doing okay. Paella is a little shy here in the shelter, but according to our volunteers, she kind of warms up pretty quickly. She likes to be petted. As you can see, she's not really trying to get down, not trying to get down out of fear or just the desire to explore. Sean found that nice sweet spot there at the base of her tail, which she seems to really like. As a stray, we don't know a ton about her. We just know what we're learning here at the shelter. So one of the great resources that we do have is our social media. And if you go on our Facebook page, there is an album with all of the adoptable animals and their pictures, some important information about them. But that's also a place where frequently our volunteers will go and provide information to the public about their interactions with the animals. And Paella does have some comments there from volunteers that have visited with her. So that's a great resource if you're looking for a cat, you're not sure if this is going to be what you want. Those volunteers will often tell you if they're lap cats, if they like to cuddle, if they're more playful. All of that information is going to be there for you. And as you can see, it didn't take very long for Paella to kind of warm up. I can hear her purring from across the set. She's kind of leaning into Sean, showing him what she likes, and she seems to be pretty content, maybe still a little bit anxious, but definitely settling in, which she would do in any home. Typically, these older, shyer cats kind of do best in kind of quieter environments where there's maybe not a lot of loud noises, lots of young kids maybe running around that could scare them. That's not always something that we're not regulating that for her, but it is something to take into consideration when you're taking on those shyer cats. Also, just like we talked about earlier in the show with our senior dog, Mabel, senior cats also, you're going to have to take into consideration whether or not you can afford just general senior vet care for them. We have listed on here that Paella will need a dental at some point in the future, and just any of your animals as they're aging, they need senior blood work to make sure that all of everything is functioning properly. So that's just another thing to think about. Because she is a senior, she will be adopted for our senior pricing. So since she's between 9 and 11 years old, she'll likely be $40 off, and you can adopt her for an adoption fee of $57.50 instead of the normal $97.50. Ziggy is our next guest, and he's another one of our big cuddle buddies. He is a 2-year-old brown tabby. He's got some great markings. He's got the nice pink nose, and he's got the great M, all those great tabby cat markings. He has a lot of thicker stripes, a lot of black on him. He's just a really handsome guy, and he's also a very mellow guy. When you walk by his cage at any given time, you're probably going to see him laying on his back, all super relaxed, loving all of the attention that he gets from the volunteers. He is still kind of a very playful cat, but he's definitely one of the calmer ones. And he's, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. He's still kind of just really relaxed, sitting on Sean's lap. He can hear the kind of bunnies in the room moving around. He can smell them, but he's not trying to escape. He's just looking around, taking it all in. Ziggy was previously owned. The owner did not tell us why they were surrendering him. One of the things that is a great tip that they did inform us about was that Ziggy does not like to have his belly touched. So even though he often shows his belly to people, he's just showing that he's very relaxed and comfortable with people, making himself vulnerable in that way, but he does not want his belly touched, and he will let you know that he does not like that. So something to consider, because he will frequently lay on his back like that. It's also something, if you have kids, you want to make sure that they're aware of the fact that he does not like that, so that they don't get scratched or bitten or anything like that. The previous owner also let us know that Ziggy loves to play with a laser pointer like most cats. He's really into that, and you can get him moving around, which would be good for Ziggy because he is a little overweight. Whether a cat is overweight or underweight or normal just really depends on their overall size and build. So while some of the cats may be listed at a higher weight aren't overweight, Ziggy at his 15 pounds, 13 ounces is a little overweight, so he could do with, again, laser pointer, running up and down the hallway, and keeping track of his diet and not maybe letting him have access to free feeding all day long. Otherwise, Ziggy's going to make a great addition to any house. They have not told us if he's been around other cats or dogs before, so that's something that would be brand new for him. So again, as we talked about earlier in the show, making sure that you're giving them that appropriate amount of adjustment period to get to know any other animals that you may have in your home. But if you are interested in adopting Ziggy, you can stop in. You can also check out all of our adoptable animals on our Pet Tango site. That's pettango.com/FCAC. The last guests that we have for you today are just two of the many kittens that we still have available for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. These guys are litter mates. So sitting on Sean's lap is one of the girls from that litter, that's Pippi, and over here with me is Oscar, and he's the boy. These guys are part of three. Their sister, Squeakers, is getting adopted, and she's actually been on Pet Pals before. She's a gray tabby, but these two got a cold and they kind of got left behind, and now they're about 4 months old, and they're not as tiny as some of the other kittens on the floor, and they're kind of getting looked over. So we want to make sure that these guys aren't spending their entire childhood here in the shelter. We want to get them both into a loving home. Now that could be a home together, because kittens do very well together. They keep each other company. There's somebody to play with. So if you're not in the mood to you know, have that laser pointer going up and down the hall, they can play with toys together. But they can also be adopted separately. That's definitely something that we do here all the time. People are concerned about separating litters. It's something that happens daily. It's not a big deal. These guys are very playful in their cage where they feel comfortable, but out here they're feeling a little shy. Pippi seems to have settled in a little better than Oscar. Because this is a new spot, there's lots of new noises, new smells, so they're feeling a little shy and uncomfortable. But they are kittens, and so their personalities are constantly changing. So they might be a little shy here, but once they settle into a new home, they might be, you know, little wild creatures running up and down the hall all day and night. They might turn into lap cats, or they might be more playful. You never know, because just like children, their personalities are still developing. They're still kind of figuring out who they want to be when they grow up. Kittens are adopted for the same adoption fee as the adult cats, so it's $97.50. If you were to take home two, then we do give you a bit of a deal there by reducing the adoption fee for one of them by $20 as a thank you for adopting two of our wonderful animals. And again, these guys would be spayed and neutered before they left, microchipped. They would get all of their vaccines. They would get dewormed and all that important stuff to kind of set you on the right path to your pet ownership of these guys. If you are interested in adding kittens to your house, again, we have these guys, we have the older ones. We've got lots of kind of leftover pairs from litters that kind of got left behind. And then we also still have some new kittens that are coming in. Just keep checking back with us, and I'm sure that you will find the perfect animal that you've been looking for. That is going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Pet Pals. We hope that you'll stay tuned and check it out next week to see what else we have to offer. And as always, you can visit the shelter and see all of the animals that we have available for adoption.